this is Steve's Art and Fun channel. I don't know what playlist this would be in. But, so, you know, it's funny. It's like, sometimes I think about, like, when, when I was a young child, and, how I was brought up in a very Christian home, and you know, inherently, a lot of things that I was interested in were considered dark, and they were considered taboo, and they were pushed against, and you get the picture. Probably a lot of people who are watching, if you're watching, I'm sure many of you can relate to this. Um, so, I have obviously, like everyone does, have a background, I mean, a genetic background, like a racial genetic background, like everyone else has. And, the more that I live and the more research I've done, I've literally learned that, like, see, mankind hasn't really changed so much as we would like to think. Um, you know, we still have war and conflict for the same things. We still want the same things. We still like the same things. We still eat the same food. you know, um, that's the conclusion I always come to because it's the truth. Because it's the hardcore truth. Um, so, a lot of times people use the word primitive, and okay, it's not really that offensive. I mean, you can call things primitive or primal. Uh, you can call things low. People talk about like low energies and all this stuff, and warlike and all this stuff, and you know, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be a functional thing and an enlightening thing, and that's what I really take it as. Okay, um, because these are forces that should be harnessed and learned about and explored. Um, Now, one thing I have to say about this video too is that, see, things have roots, right? And it's almost as if a current or energy or theme reoccurs a lot over and over. Sometimes it's almost repackaged or resold as something else. But the potency, the power, and the importance of it does not really diminish so much. Um, and not necessarily does the power, the potency, and the importance of these things have to diminish. So, another thing, when I was raised as a child, there was this stigma behind like rock and roll or metal, and come on. Um, the funny thing is, when you really study these things, you realize how much actual insight you can gain if you really pay attention to some of the lyrics. In even if you study the frequency of these notes, you listen to this type of music, and you really realize that there's a lot more that could be learned from it than it just sounds like noise. It just sounds chaotic. It's just this. It's just that. And then people look at like the aesthetic and the style. You know, they look at me wearing this, and then You know, they think it's some which isn't a bad thing. I mean, their probably first thought is they think pagan, they think satanic, which isn't a bad thing either. But you know, like I'm saying again, you know, so many things that people demean and try to portray as so evil or so bad or this, it's really very skewed and very misinformed, and there's a lot of misinformation going around. Um, so that's kind of what this rant is about, right? Throat is dry. It's weird because I just drunk some milk. I don't know why my throat is dry, but you know, I just have to say, like, see, I find that there's in really primitive things, like there's a very what's the word? I'm gonna change the lighting a little bit. There's a very beautiful aspect to these things. Okay, there's a power to it. You know, if you even open yourself up to some of these more primitive forces, um, there's so much that you can actually gain from it. You know, it's not what you would think. You know, you see these Hollywood movies, you see a lot of stuff in Hollywood. You know, like you know, Hollywood is Hollywood. A lot of it's BS, man. Now, I'm gonna say there are some actual realistic things that people really wouldn't really believe or really what's the word? They wouldn't really understand. They would label it as like mania. They would psychosis, or whatever you want to call it. A lot of things people call it, but it's not always. It's not that. Matter of fact, it's usually never that. Um, it's usually never that. When you see weird and odd behaviors in people, sometimes, um, it's just that they're in a different place. You know, they're how do you say it? They're in a altered state, really, and it's altered. It's not chaotic. It's altered. You know, there's logic and reason in it. You know, look at how a lot of animals. Sometimes animals act a certain way, and people really don't understand it. They just don't get it. But really, people are really no different. It's just sometimes there is a switch that has to come on for someone's consciousness to be altered a certain way. You know, to turn something on. And sometimes people may observe this and they really wouldn't understand. They would look at the individual and they wouldn't know what to think. You know, they would think a lot of things, but usually they're pretty far off. Uh, so I'm gonna leave you with this. Um, you know, follow your gut. Don't let people tell you something is wrong. This is this. This is that because of their crazed mainstream religion. And if deep down you really don't believe, if you believe it, that's fine. But if you have any doubts about it, go with your gut and do what you believe you're really led to do. Another thing too is look back on your childhood and remember a lot of thoughts and instances you had, if you can remember, and really look in yourself with honest truth, and really just be truthful about what you think. And even if something seems completely crazy to you, listen to that inner voice if it just never stops. Because with me, it's never stopped. I've been through, you know, into Christianity, tried to get back into it, had depressions, traumas, went back to a different path, tried to get back to Christianity, thought maybe there was some truth there, and I always come back to the same truth that no, this what some people call a left-hand path, that's the thing for me, always has been, um, always will be, it is what it is, so on and so forth. And I can't be ashamed of it. I should just be proud of it, accept it, because it is truth. Okay? It is. And so much that people have taught in mainstream religion and things, it's a big lie, a huge lie, and does a big disservice to a lot of people. Not every, but a lot of people. And as a society, this stuff that I'm talking about is could really do a lot of good for a society. So, with that being said, um, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. This is Steve's Art and Fun channel. This is your host, Steve from the back. Um, this is probably going to be in the rant section. I believe this is acceptable for kids. I don't know if I don't think I cursed or anything. I think I kept this clean enough. So that's the end of the rant, and have a nice day.